Good afternoon. This Friday, we are on top of three big stories. A former Minneapolis police officer has been arrested in connection to the death of George Floyd. This as violent riots in Minneapolis continue for 3 days straight. Protesters in the streets and setting fire to a Minneapolis police precinct. Also, we are looking at more rain through Saturday, but the beginning of the week should see some big changes. And Forsyth and Guilford County Health Departments are reporting new deaths since yesterday. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I am Ben Briscoe here with Stacy Spivey and Eric Chilton. This is the show where we get to interact with you about today's events. We've got all these computers around us on set, plus our phones to react with you on Facebook and YouTube. Starting with news about a developing story just into our newsroom. President Trump says the U.S. is ending its relationship with the World Health Organization. President Trump says the organization flat out failed to respond to coronavirus. He claims that China controls the organization. He also added that Chinese officials failed to report properly to the World Health Organization, pressuring the group to give misleading information about when that virus outbreak started. Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services is putting the RNC on notice, saying what kind of health requirements need to be in place for that event to continue. The state is using CDC guidelines on mass gatherings for its guidance, meaning the RNC needs to answer questions like, how are people going to social distance? Will they wear masks? And if someone gets coronavirus, how will the RNC track all the people they came in contact with? The state stressed that they want to host the RNC, but only if it's safe. Struggling airline companies are finding more ways to pinch pennies. Delta Airlines is offering to buy out employees if the employee has worked there for more than 25 years with the company. Reports say Delta is offering a retirement package. Now that includes a severance package, which is a year of paid medical coverage and travel benefits. And over at American Airlines, they are cutting 30% of management and administrative positions. Greensboro Parks and Recreation is expanding hours starting Monday. Regional parks and garden hours will run from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's starting June 8th. Then parks will go back to normal session hours on 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on June 8th. City Lakes also start their normal season hours on June 15th. Those hours are 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And did someone say free? Costco is bringing back free samples in June. We all are excited about this. The company temporarily paused those samples for health reasons when the coronavirus started. Costco says when samples are up and running again, customers, they're not going to be able to grab them with their own hands.
If you want to get tested for the coronavirus, Guilford County health officials say they're going to continue those free testing events in June. If you missed one of the testing events that happened today at Windsor Recreation Center, you'll have more chances to get tested as officials are actually adding testing locations. Now the test dates, you can take a look at your screen right now. If you need a test, it's by appointment only, so you need to call that number that is on your screen. You will be pre-screened over the phone, and testing is for anyone, even if you don't have health insurance. All the test times are from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
And as North Carolina continues to ramp up its testing efforts, CVS is running 55 coronavirus testing sites across our state. That includes some right here in the Triad. The sites are part of CVS's commitment to open 1,000 test locations by the end of May. Anyone getting tested will stay in their cars, and get this, you do your own self-swab under the supervision of a CVS employee. Results come back in about 3 days. If you need a test, you can register online. That link is on our website.
Well, temperatures, we were talking yesterday about some of those daytime highs maybe being upper 70s, low 80s. Some of you have been spared some of the heat. Burlington in particular, 72. Basically, you could tell where the rain has been, where the rain has not been, because 80 degrees in Walnut Cove, almost 80, upper 70s for Winston-Salem and High Point, so a little bit hotter back to the west. That's because most of our rain has been in the eastern and southeastern parts of our viewing area, not so much over central and definitely not over the mountain and foothill communities. Tonight, overnight lows at 67, mostly cloudy. Still see a chance of a few thunderstorms because when we show you the radar, you'll notice more of this awaits us to the south. Tomorrow, 82 degrees, a mix of sun and clouds with some scattered storms, and possibility tomorrow can happen anytime during the day, but more likely, and they'll be widely scattered. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of heavy rains, but we'll go with a 40% chance for Saturday afternoon and evening as this entire frontal boundary will start to clear us. By then, you can see the heavier rains have moved to the east. Right now, it's mostly in Chatham County, Lee County, and eastern Alamance. We're getting a little bit of a break. Mountain and foothill communities, get ready for another line to move through your area. Now, not seeing much in the way of warnings right now, except down towards Stanley County, which is to the west of Montgomery County, and that goes until 5:15. Again, most of this rain moving out for now, but more awaits us into the night. We'll talk about thunderstorm chances for your weekend in just a minute.
And that weather that Eric is talking about has actually postponed Ace Speedway's race that was supposed to happen tonight. As you probably know, the Speedway has recently been at the center of conversation for the races that happened last Saturday. As you may know, under Phase 2, only 25 people are allowed to gather at outside events, but around 2,500 people attended the race last weekend, happening just one day after Governor Roy Cooper announced the state was moving into Phase 2. The Speedway initially said that they were following guidelines, but the state health department said they informed the Speedway the day of the race to limit the number of people to 25. The Speedway hasn't said if they will limit the number of people going to Saturday's race. Many of you still reacting about this on our Facebook page. Let's take a look and see some of those comments. Angelica says, a few weeks you'll see the consequences. Why can't North Carolinians be more patient? Another comment coming from Christina saying, glad to see it was a packed house. Let's go racing. And our next comment from Susan says, holy moly, the hospitals are going to be overwhelmed in a couple of weeks. The poor doctors and nurses who will have to deal with it. And Christy says, you can't be afraid all of your life of this virus. So if you won't ever get back into, or if so, you won't ever get back into this world. And another comment says, freedom at its finest, with a thumbs up emoji and American flag. And Stephanie says, you can't pick and choose who you let in. These people have a right to make their own grown-up decision. And lastly, Jolie says, what did they expect?
High Point University is already adjusting its fall semester schedule, so the university recently established a health and safety task force to plan for the upcoming year. And here's what they came up with. Students will start classes a week early. The university is getting rid of fall break, and the final day of the semester will be November 24th. Students will go home for reading days and take exams online. The school's president says changes are necessary for the safety of students.
We are living in unimaginable times. You know, no organization could fully be prepared to deal with such difficult times. But at High Point University, we have worked very diligently to make sure that we can create a safe environment in a meaningful way.
Students and staff will also go through health screenings before they're allowed to step back onto campus. Guilford County school leaders are also working on a plan for the upcoming school year. Leaders are still figuring out how to safely bring students back into the classroom. And the school board wants to hear ideas from parents. You can comment until June 9th. Now, while the plan is still fluid, Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras says students are likely to do some blended learning from home and some in the classroom.
Meanwhile, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools are also working on their plan, and yesterday the Board of Education approved Virtual Academy for the upcoming year. Now, this academy will give grade school students a more personalized learning experience. The district says they will be providing needed equipment like hotspots for students. They'll also take care of transportation for state testing. You can apply to enroll your student in the Virtual Academy starting Monday. And we'll have more of 4 to 5 coming up after this quick break. Stay with us.
Yes, talking about anxiety and what to do when you see people without a mask.
Now that some stores and restaurants are reopening, more people are venturing out of their homes, and the CDC continues to recommend that you wear a face mask while out. But there are some people who choose not to do so, and seeing someone in public who isn't wearing a face mask can make you feel uncomfortable sometimes. That's what Blanca Cobb and I are talking about this afternoon. So Blanca, are there some warning signs that someone can clue in on if they're feeling anxious because of this?
Yes, sometimes those signs of anxiety may not be as obvious to you. So I'm going to go over some of the most common ones. Your breathing will change. It gets shallow and it gets faster. And also your heartbeat can get louder. You feel like it's loud. It's also faster also and harder. You just feel like this thumping sound. Some people will break out in a sweat. Also, palms can get very sweaty. And some people will actually get a dry mouth and they just don't feel right. They feel nervous, like something is off.
Okay, so say you're out in public, you start feeling anxious this way when you see someone without a mask on. What do you do?
Slow down. You either want to stop or slow down. So if you physically start slowing down, you also want to get control of your breath. You want to focus on your breath. So take some deep breaths and just focus on the air coming in. And then as it goes out, you're going to help calm yourself just a little bit. In terms of body language, you're going to have to be what I call like a mental ninja. So you're going to have to like psych yourself out, because what happens is you implode, your body gets smaller, your shoulders get rounded, you look down, you just close in on yourself. What you want to do is visualize like a soldier, because when you see a soldier, what do? They have a straight back, they have their shoulders back, and then their chin is up. You're making some expansive movements here in order to regain control of yourself.
Okay, so what if you want to avoid confrontation with someone that maybe doesn't have a mask on and you would prefer them to have that? So what do you do in that situation?
If there's any way that you can prevent any type of confrontation would be best. So whether you take a step back or you can move around the person, but let's say you really want to say something, you want to make sure that you have your own emotions in check, because you may not realize this, people who are feeling anxiety, they also can be very irritable. So when you're talking to somebody, if you're feeling irritable, that can make things very sensitive and possibly more explosive, if you will. So what I would recommend is, once you know that you have yourself in control and your voice and your breath, you might want to say something like, I would feel more comfortable if you had a mask on because that keeps everyone safe. And just leave it at that. Some people will respect it, other people won't.
Well, Blanca, thank you so much for that advice. Now we'll be right back with more of 4 to the 5 coming up after this quick break. Stay with us.
After days of protests, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was arrested this afternoon in connection to the death of George Floyd. He's facing charges of third-degree murder and manslaughter. Now, Chauvin is one of 4 officers fired after this video showed him with a knee on Floyd's neck during an arrest. Floyd died shortly after he was taken into custody. Yesterday, most people thought the DA was going to announce charges for the officer at a news conference. When he didn't, there were more protests, including a fire that you're looking at right there at a police precinct. According to Minneapolis police, Chauvin had 18 complaints against him in his career.
It's time for us to clean our streets. It's time for us to execute today in a way that shows respect and dignity to communities. I'm going to ask for a lot of help today of those folks who want to see it. It is my expectation that justice for the officers involved in this will be swift, that it will come in a timely manner, that it will be fair.
The governor said what's happening in Minneapolis is generations of pain showing itself finally. President Trump responded to the violent protest on Twitter last night, and the social media platform flagged the president's tweet as glorifying violence. See, the president called the protesters thugs and vowed that when looting starts, the shooting starts. In response to the demonstrations, Trump also announced he's sending the National Guard to Minneapolis to assist.
I've asked the Attorney General, FBI, and the Attorney General to take a very strong look and to see what went on, because that was a very, very bad thing that I saw. I saw it last night and I didn't like it.
President Trump said George Floyd will not die in vain, and he asked people to respect his memory.
Now, headlines like this have emotions running high across the country, which is why it's important to make sure that you're getting your information straight from reliable sources. As you may have seen, photos are circulating online, spreading rumors about the police officer who placed his knee on George Floyd. Before you share the post, listen to what our Verify team found.
We're tackling 2 photos that are appearing all over social media that falsely link one of the officers involved to President Trump and other political motives. First, this photo. On the left, Officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck. On the right, what is claimed to be Chauvin wearing a Make Whites Great Again hat. Now, these are both real photos, but this photo here on the right is not Derek Chauvin. It's Jonathan Riches, an infamous internet troll. Here, he's posed as the uncle of the Sandy Hook shooter and as a Muslim supporting Hillary Clinton. We can't explain why he does this, but we can verify he is not the officer involved and that the images claiming they're the same person are false. Then there's this picture of another man at a Trump rally in Minnesota. Multiple posts claim this is also Officer Chauvin. It is not. Not only do they not look alike, the Minneapolis Police Union confirmed that, quote, none of the officers in the incident were near the Trump rally. Meaning we can verify the claims that this photo shows Officer Chauvin at a Trump rally are also false. Look, folks, George Floyd's death has led to a lot of deep discussions and protests around the country. Disinformation and rumors here are harmful. These false claims try to steer the narrative and insert political motives using false evidence. We'd urge you not to share these images and send us any others you might be seeing so we can check them out for you. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
In Kentucky, protesters gathered last night calling for action in Breonna Taylor's case. She was shot and killed by police officers back in March when they were delivering a search warrant at her apartment. Since then, the department says they've received death threats from all over the nation. They're sending out a public message asking for those upset to channel that energy into compassion.
These are difficult days. We're all at the center of the storm.
Louisville Metro Police Chief Steve Conrad sent a message of assurance to the department Tuesday. It comes after a national spotlight was put on the department following the death of Breonna Taylor.
I ask you to stay focused on your job, to protect and serve this community. Meet anger with compassion and professionalism.
Taylor was shot and killed back in March as officers served a search warrant at her apartment on Springfield Drive. Those 3 officers involved have been on administrative reassignment since the raid.
We have, an 1,100 plus person agency. Everybody is being, shadowed with the actions of one incident.
Sergeant Lamont Washington says officers have been receiving threats not only from people in Louisville, but also from all across the country.
The comment section is full of all cops need to die and kill pigs and things like that.
He says an incident last week crossed the line when it threatened the physical safety of officers.
We want to be able to focus on helping the person in need and not have to worry about if somebody's going to jump out to ambush us.
The incident happening near Taylor's apartment, but Washington says they don't believe it's connected to that case.
There are people that look for situations like this to wreak havoc.
And while this investigation will no doubt continue to be in the national spotlight, Washington says it shouldn't come at the expense of other officers' safety.
You can be passionate about what you believe is right and wrong and not be violent.
Every day it is so much to take in. We'll be right back.
I absolutely love this next story. It's so hard to believe it's been 17 years since Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt showcased their giant family in the movie Cheaper by the Dozen. Yeah, it came out in 2003. Well, the cast did a series of reenactments of famous scenes from the movie and then posted them in a TikTok on social media. Check this out. This is Bonnie Hunt's post on Twitter with the videos all edited together. You can see they kind of reenact famous scenes from the movie. So crazy to see how much they've grown up, especially some of the younger kids. Oh, I love it. Just brought back all the memories from that time. Now, the movie was a box office success in 2003 and even sparked a sequel in 2005. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing with my Friday night, staying at home watching movies because of all that rain coming our way, Eric.
That's true. There was Piper Perabo showing up there. So it is interesting, especially the little kids in that movie, to see them now. You hardly can tell who it is. You look at the satellite and radar combination. Most of the heavier rains are to the east of us, but don't get excited just yet. We've got more of this to the south of us. Now, we'll scan across for just warnings in the area, and the only thing we see is Stanley County, which is south and a little bit back to the west of Montgomery County. That's a flash flood warning, which will expire here in about 45 minutes or so, and I do expect it will because we're not seeing, here's the wide shot out for you. We're not seeing as much in the way of a lot of heavier rains, but we do see scattered showers to the south. And the way this is all trending, it's kind of drifting north and east while the entire complex moves east across the state. So some of this may make it, I think it's really more of an eastern part of the viewing area seeing rain than the mountains if you're talking about in the short term. Again, the mountains are getting a little bit of rain right now, some of that moving through Boone and the Wilkesboro area. Just to show you in the overnight hours to Saturday morning, this is Saturday morning at about 5:35, some clouds, but we're not seeing much in the way of rain. That afternoon, though, they'll be widely scattered, but we're not seeing the heavier thunderstorm activity. Keep an eye out for that, though, because if we do hit that high of expected around 82 degrees, it will get it could get a little bit rough with a couple of thunderstorms. After Saturday afternoon, we're in good shape, folks. Sunday all the way through Tuesday, sunshine, low to mid 70s.
Hi, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check. Cool.
Hey there, thanks for joining us on the 4 to 5. I'm Ben Briscoe with Stacy Spivey, and Eric Chilton's somewhere around here getting ready for his weather forecast. We are all social distancing right now, apart, but we're still trying to be close to you by talking to you on Facebook and YouTube live right now. We've been commenting in the section. Join us. We'd love to have you as part of the conversation, especially about some of our news today. So let's get right to your news roundup. First up, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been arrested in connection to the death of George Floyd. Authorities are not discussing specific charges at the moment. The video showed the officer with his knee on Floyd's neck during an arrest. Now, Floyd died shortly after he was taken into custody. Last night, protesters set fire to a police precinct. According to Minneapolis police, Chauvin had 18 complaints against him in his career. Now that most folks are starting to head back into the office for work, the CDC is warning businesses to protect their employees. But get this, it's not just from coronavirus, but also another deadly health risk called Legionnaire's disease. It's a type of pneumonia caused by bacteria in standing waters. See, with all the buildings sitting empty, the water lines, they weren't running, meaning the bacteria could have grown inside them. The CDC says businesses should flush that water system and make sure their water heater is working before employees return. As more people continue to file for unemployment, their payments could get smaller soon. The extra $600 that the federal government kicks in every week is set to expire at the end of July. Now, this would mean that payments in North Carolina would max out at $350 per week. But some lawmakers have proposed extending that extra money. You can expect to see a lot of debate about this in D.C. over the next couple of weeks. And Novant Health is shortening the hours for their coronavirus assessment centers. They will now start an hour later and close an hour earlier. If you need to visit one, here are the new hours: Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They did not give a reason for the change.
The Carolina Panthers continue to add to their roster in this offseason. 7 new guys coming from the NFL draft about a month ago. But the coronavirus has kept them from being able to visit Charlotte to meet their new team members. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson finds out what one player has been up to during this time. Hey, Amanda.
Usually when a player gets drafted, a few days later, he'll go to his new city and get a nice introduction. Well, that couldn't happen this year for new Panthers players like defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos. He has to meet his teammates and coaches through the screen, and that's not how he expected his pro experience to start out. But the Panthers' entire organization has to figure out how to handle the coronavirus impact on sports. Yetur tells me he has long days of Zoom calls with coaches and fitting in their workout plans.
I've been super busy, and then before I know it, it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and I gotta shower and eat before I go back to sleep. So it's just been a lot of studying, a lot of mental training. And they've given us like a lot of, cool like, nuggets and stuff to do to train our minds. So we've been really busy, and I can't wait to get actually there and meet people face to face and make relationships. But we're making the most of the situation that we have now.
In making most of the situation, Yetur says he's keeping up with his new teammates. He says he's learning about their personalities, which he's enjoying, but he wishes he can do it face to face.
We want to honor our seniors this year since their graduations have been so impacted by this pandemic. That's why we do our senior shout outs here, and here are some of the graduates we are featuring today. Jordan graduates from Eastern Alamance High with a lot of accomplishments, including over a 4-point GPA, a smart one there. He will attend UNC Charlotte in the fall. And shout out to Earl Green III. He will be attending UNC Wilmington in the fall as a track and field athlete. He's going to pursue a degree in business. And Jaden Hall graduates from Northeast Guilford as a 3-athlete scholar. He'll be heading off to Johnson C. Smith in the fall on a football scholarship. If you want to share a senior shout out with us, find the submission form on our website. You can submit photos of your senior, but please, we want ones you've taken. Pretty candid photos, not professional ones. Their name, their school. You can also include a personal message with your shout outs.
Well, all eyes to the skies as we watch for thunderstorms. Thankfully, a lot of the storms have been moving to the east of us, but we had some to the south earlier, and more could be on the way as we head into the night. So we'll talk about temperatures right now. 75 in the Triad, 71 in Raleigh. Charlotte is up to 74. You look statewide back to the west in the beautiful hills there. Asheville at 79. Boone only 69 degrees. Most of the heavy rain, as we mentioned, in the Triangle right now, and not in the Triad, but from Durham all the way down to Raleigh, really just Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area with the heavier rains. Across our region, we see a little bit of rain in Randolph County. It's been fairly light over the last 30 minutes or so. And then this one line coming down off the mountains. Usually when it moves down off the mountains like that, it'll fall apart a little bit. But Wilkesboro probably seeing that rain in the next 20 minutes. It's already moved through Boone, parts of Sparta and Allegheny County seeing some of that rain in Trap Hill area. Probably Mount Airy and Elkin and Dobson. Maybe in the next 30 minutes we'll see a shower or two. The only warning we see is down to Stanley County. That is a flash flood warning, but that should expire here in a little bit, about 5:15. We'll be watching that for you. Overall, the rain is moving from the southwest back up to the northeast. Most of the thunderstorm activity is from the Triangle east all the way to the coast. Wilmington getting some rain too, and some thunderstorm activity also moving into Topsail Island area. That cold front, that will move through, and it's a game changer for us. It comes through tomorrow afternoon, and then some of that cooler air will filter in back behind it. But tomorrow, and it may be a game we play here as far as our high temperatures go about the timing of that front. I think we could get up to the low 80s if that front stays back far enough and doesn't come through quickly. Otherwise, we'd probably see some upper 70s out there. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Here's what it looks like tonight. Mostly cloudy, a few storms here or there. Still could see that even into the evening. 67 degrees, winds mostly southwest along that frontal boundary that'll be here tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll see the mix of sun and clouds, a few scattered showers and maybe storms in the afternoon. But again, it's not going to be that bad of a day. I think we'll clear out pretty quickly, and we'll go with sunshine and 76 on Sunday. What a beautiful second half of the weekend. Lots of sunshine to start next week. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, mostly sunny. 73 the coolest day on Monday, up to 76 Tuesday, 82 Wednesday, and we're in the mid-80s with a normal summertime pattern there with a chance of a pop-up late day shower or storm. Only a 20 to 30% chance on Thursday and Friday afternoon and evening.
Well, we hear it all the time. Wash your hands for 20 seconds, sing the song Happy Birthday twice, but how do you know your hands are really getting clean? Our sister station in Atlanta checked out how you get the best results.
So it's been about 3 months since we've all been stuck at home. We've all gotten pretty good at washing our hands. Or have we? What if we could see the germs on our hands and test out how good we really are? Well, luckily, my pandemic online shopping led me to this. Glow Germ Gel. It's a hand washing training tool. It's even featured in this CDC video.
Hand washing is one of the most important ways.
Just like real germs, when it's on your hands, you can't see it. But turn on a black light, and it glows. It's a great way to see how we transfer germs from one place to another. So I decided to run a little experiment on myself. I put the lotion on my hands and then went about my day. An hour later, I took a black light to my kitchen. The sink, the light switches, the handles to everything. All of these spots were covered in simulated germs. Then I tested out washing my hands with the CDC recommended 20-second scrub.
1, 2, 19, 20.
Not perfect, but better. Then I expanded the experiment to my in-laws. Okay, I need your help. I want you to put this cream on your hands, okay? Úntese la crema en las manos. Trust me.
I would trust you.
Okay. Then we went to lunch. Okay, is it all rubbed in? Sí. Vámonos, let's go get some lunch. About 2 hours later, show me your hands and show me your face. Las uñas, they're glowing, your nails.
Ay, Dios mío.
We didn't do so well.
I need to wash my hands as soon as possible. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I need to be safe.
We all glowed. What started on our hands ended up on our faces. And then in his beard and on his lip. Theo, that's how the virus gets in. And all over our shirts. Oh, you need to wash this shirt.
Yes.
Makes you think twice before putting that back in the closet, doesn't it? Moral of the story? Well, now I understand why washing your hands for 20 seconds and often is the glowing recommendation.
But not even the 20 seconds got all of it off.
Gross. I was watching that out here. I cannot stand that because it makes me just want to go scrub all the time.
Heebie-jeebies, right?
Yeah, I feel like we needed a camera in all three of our faces while watching that because mine the entire time was like this.
That's exactly
What?
right.
Absolutely.
And all I can think of is if I look at my kids' toys, because you know how kids are. I bet they would glow in the dark like a light beam.
It's a good reminder to all of us to take this seriously, though, and do what we can to stop and prevent it.
Very true.
We'll be right back.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, hi.
Hello, I'm Ed Matthews. In our Science Geek experiment for this week, we're going to be talking about tooth decay. Yeah, it's not a big topic of conversation, not a favorite one anyway at the dinner table, but after we perform this experiment, I think maybe you're going to want to brush your teeth more. What we're doing is we're taking 3 of our favorite beverages that we like to drink and seeing if they cause our teeth to decay by using a hard-boiled egg. The materials that you will need, I have 3 mason jars here with lids. And also you'll need 3 eggs. And I use the brown eggs because they show the experiment better. And for my experiment, I used bottled water, I used cola, and also I used orange juice as well. Now I started this experiment about a week ago. You drop an egg in each one of the beverages and you put the lid tightly on it and you forget about it for about 7 or 8 days. And then when you come back, you look and see what condition the egg is in. So let's do that. We're at that point in the experiment right now, and I think we'll start with the cola because who doesn't like a cola or something refreshing on a hot spring or summer day? I'm gonna pull the egg out and I'm gonna put it right over here, and not only are we seeing signs of the shell, the egg shell being cracked and chipped, and kind of broken open, but also these dark brown areas. I think that cola has actually kind of stained the egg. It's a lot darker than it was when I first started using it. Of course, cola has a lot of sugar in it. Also, orange juice has a lot of sugar in it, and it has citric acid. Oh my goodness. This is a very, very unhappy egg. Look at that where it's chipped off. As a matter of fact, what used to be a brown egg has actually turned white. So that demonstrates that sugar and citric acid combined together, this egg is just really, really in bad shape. Okay, what about the one that we just soaked for a week in water? Well, let's pull that out. Oh my goodness, this is a happy egg. Look at this. It looks just like it did when I put it in the water about a week ago. So what does that tell us? Water's great to drink, and I'm not saying that these others are not good to drink, but certainly they do help to erode and decay our teeth. As a matter of fact, the American Dental Association suggests that we brush our teeth after every meal, 3 or 4 times a day. I'll be honest, I don't do that. But after doing this experiment, it might be a good idea to do it as well. So you try this experiment, see how it works for you, and you may want to consider brushing your teeth more.
Well, after watching that, you're lucky I'm still here doing weather. I should be in the bathroom brushing my teeth right now. That was horrible. I like all those, right? I like to drink all those. 75 degrees in Greensboro, 78 Winston-Salem. High Point, you're at 79. These temperatures, a little bit cooler than what we were expecting yesterday, but we've had some additional cloud cover. But 81 in Walnut Cove and Mount Airy at 80. You can tell, because it's unusual for us to see Burlington with 72 degrees and Wilkesboro at 81. So guess who has seen the rain and who has not? Yeah, the eastern half of the viewing area. More showers there than anywhere else. 67 will be the overnight low tonight, so that'll be your Saturday morning step out temperature. You may see a break in the cloud here or there for tomorrow during the day, but by afternoon we have just a little isolated shower here or there. I'll go with a 40% chance, but I've been trending down on the rain chances on Saturday. Still could see it, and anytime we hit 82 degrees, that's warm enough that it could spark just a out of the blue late day pop-up summertime type thunderstorm. So watch for that tomorrow, and we of course will be here to let you know. For today though, and into the night tonight, we're only in the marginal risk for severe thunderstorm activity. Again, most of this so far, we're not in the clear yet, but most of this has translated to the east. We saw a couple in Montgomery County earlier that had a severe thunderstorm warning. That's expired. And as it moves on to the east, you look behind it a little bit, And we'll look for warnings. This is our particular graphic that does nothing but kind of scan the area just for warnings, not for watches. But that is a flash flood warning. It's in effect until 5:15, so about 30 minutes or so in Stanley County to the south. So here's the broad picture. As we mentioned, more of this moisture awaits us to the south, and it is sort of streaming up to the north and to the east, and it's around the Charlotte area. But a lot of this, again, we're on the edge, right? It's from the Triad east that we'll see most of the rain and thunderstorm activity. So we'll be watching that into the night, probably as late as, say, 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. We'll probably see a lot of the rain gone, maybe just an isolated shower. Here comes the cold front that'll move through during the day on Saturday, and as we head into Sunday, we'll cool down a little bit. Winds around that high pressure clockwise, that flow, so that'll bring down a northwest component to the winds, and that will cool us down from tomorrow's high in the low 80s. If we get enough sunshine, we'll cool that into the 70s for Sunday. Let's talk about tonight, though. A few storms, as we mentioned. Keep an eye out for that. And if you download our app, you can have a live radar right in the palm of your hand. See where that rain is and where it's headed. 67 will be the overnight low tonight. Winds primarily out of the southwest, 5 to 10. It may get a little bit gusty if you see a thunderstorm. Tomorrow, most of this is late day if we see anything at all. Let's go with a 40% chance of a pop-up shower or storm Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, variably cloudy, a mix of sun and clouds, and that high of 82 degrees. Cool it down and clear it out as we head to the second half of the weekend. Your Sunday through Wednesday, mostly sunny every day. 76 Sunday, low 70s on Monday. Then we build back in with the heat. 76 Tuesday, 82 Wednesday, and by the time you get to Thursday and Friday, mid 80s with a summertime pop-up late day isolated shower or storm.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, the fired police officer seen on video with his knee on George Floyd's neck is arrested and charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. The arrest comes after several nights of protests, including the burning of a Minneapolis police precinct. Triad law enforcement weighs in on the unrest. Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Okay, I want you to look right here. This thing intimidated me for like 2 years. It is this giant mirror. It's like 200 pounds, and I was so scared of hanging it on the wall. But during all this time when the bars and restaurants were closed and we were at home, I thought, now's the perfect chance to research and figure out how to do this sucker. So it's a success. You can see it is still standing. The mirror and the wall are intact. I asked you to share what new skills you've been learning too. Let's take a look at what you said. Mavis Anderson said, parting with stuff that I thought was necessary. That is such a good skill. I need to learn it, Mavis. Daniel said, hope you hung it with command strips. As for me, I learned how to turn a drive to the car wash into a mind-saving adventure out from the work from home insanity. Deb said, painting the house inside, all the rooms. That's a big task. Connie said, I've been applying myself to broadening my business set skills. So I learned how to write a press release and have put that skill to good use with getting the word out about our latest research into how markets are changing due to the pandemic. Now, on a personal front, I learned how to take my exercise bands with me on my walks to the local greenway to give myself a chance to add a bit to the journey. I walk a bit and find a place overlooking a nearby dog park and do my upper body work, watching dogs play. Never had to think about getting so creative with exercise before. It is true that everyone is getting creative right now. I know, Stacy, you've really been trying to get creative out in the garden.
That's right, with a new house that we just purchased, trying to make our yard look nice and pretty with new flowers and everything. So I've had to do a lot of research on what flowers do well during this time of year, how to take care of them so I don't kill all the plants.
Man,
I've learned a lot.
Every year, don't feel bad. I buy a bunch and they all die after a couple of months. You'll do it again next year and you'll love it just as much.
Well, hey, very proud of you for hanging that mirror, and it looks great. Thank
you. I can't wait to see your garden. And you at home, let me know on Facebook what you have been working on too. I know there's so much creativity around the Triad right now. We'll be right back with WFMY News 2 at 5 and your 2 cents.
Hey there, mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. It's on.
Hello, 1 2 3 4.
Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana.
So when I started to do my 2 cents today, at first I was going to talk about how parents, we've been homeschooling and it's really hard, and now here comes summer and they're home for 3 more months and we don't have anything for them to do. But then I found this. This was in the kitchen, and it's a book. Take a closer look. That my youngest, Drew, who's 7, she, my only girl, is super organized and excited about things. She made this book, Things to Do at the Beach, and when you open it up, there are little note cards. Play with sand. Pretty good. Play in beach house, too. Sleep as much as I can, and this is my all-time favorite, sing at the beach in the morning. Well, because that's what you do. You wake up and you sing because you're at the beach. So this put everything into perspective for me. And my topic changed from, oh, here we go with summer and nothing to do with the kids and they're bored. And really, instead of saying, oh, here we go, now I said, here we go. It brings it all center when you see the innocence of a child and what brings them true joy. So no matter what we do with a vacation this summer, whether it's the beach or not, I know that looking at that little girl's face when she sees just the excitement of going to a new place, if we can get that done this summer, that's what it's all about. But that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Developing tonight, several big stories around the country and our state.
Unrest in Minneapolis. You've been watching it for days now. New developments at 5 o'clock. Fired police officer Derek Chauvin arrested in connection with the death of George Floyd while in police custody. The National Guard activates more than 500 soldiers to help with crowds. Leaders here at home weigh in on the unrest.
First, state leaders respond to President Trump and the Republican National Committee about the future of the RNC in Charlotte. 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe has an update tonight.
So for months now, the state and the RNC have been working in private to make this event in August safe. But now, as the talks are getting more heated, both sides are going public by publishing letters they've sent to each other. Here's today's twist. Dr. Mandy Cohen in the state of North Carolina wrote to the Republican Party the state wants to host a full RNC if it is safe to do so. In the letter, she went on to explain the governor needs more information before making a decision,